Hello, Days of Our Lives fans. It's us again, your trusted source for all things drama, intrigue, and suspense from the world of Salem. Today, we have an explosive theory that will keep you on the edge of your seat. We're diving into the intense mystery surrounding DiMera's shooting and the shocking possibility that it might be none other than Rachel Black, Kristen and Brady's young daughter, who pulled the trigger. That's right. Could it be that little Rachel is the one responsible for the shooting, and is Kristen covering for her to protect her from the devastating consequences? Let's explore this theory in depth as we try to unravel the twisted web that has been woven around one of Salem's most complicated families. A shocking twist. Rachel takes action. The world of Days of Our Lives has never been short on shocking moments, but the recent developments surrounding DiMera's shooting have raised the stakes higher than ever. EJ, as we know, has been a central figure in the DiMera family, and his shooting has left many wondering who could be behind such a violent act. But what if the unthinkable has happened? What if the person responsible for pulling the trigger was none other than Kristen and Brady's own daughter, Rachel? The idea may seem far-fetched at first, but as we dig deeper into the events leading up to the shooting, the pieces of the puzzle start to fit together in a way that suggests Rachel may be the one who shot EJ. What would drive a child to take such drastic action? Could it be a mix of overheard conversations, familial conflicts, and the complicated nature of the DiMera bloodline that led to this dark decision? Let's break it down. The DiMera family drama. Kristen, EJ, and Rachel. As viewers know, Days of Our Lives has always been filled with family feuds, secrets, and power struggles. The DiMera family, in particular, has long been known for its deep-rooted dysfunction and dangerous ambitions. EJ and Kristen have always had a complicated relationship, with their shared history full of betrayal, manipulation, and unresolved tension. And in recent episodes, things between them took a darker turn. EJ and Kristen's heated conflict, especially regarding the disappearance of Rachel Blake, Kristen's mother, set the stage for what could be a catastrophic chain of events. EJ, in his usual ruthless manner, has always been the one to dominate his family, including Kristen. But in this case, Kristen is not one to back down, and the tension between them was palpable. Kristen, desperate to find her mother, confronts EJ about his involvement in the disappearance of Rachel Blake, the so-called woman in white, who had a mysterious past with both Kristen and Rachel. This moment of confrontation could have been the catalyst for Rachel's dark actions. Imagine the shock and confusion that would have filled young Rachel's mind as she overheard her mother and uncle arguing. The revelation that her uncle was responsible for the disappearance of her grandmother would have been a traumatic experience for anyone, let alone a child with the DiMera blood running through her veins. Rachel has already shown traits of being fiercely protective of her family, particularly her mother, and the idea that EJ may have hurt someone she loved could have pushed her over the edge. Rachel's DiMera DNA, a recipe for chaos. What makes this theory even more plausible is Rachel's inheritance of the DiMera bloodline. Kristen and Brady's daughter has inherited the volatile nature of the DiMera family, which is notorious for its ruthlessness, ambition, and capacity for violence. Rachel may be a young child, but she has already demonstrated some of the darker tendencies that run through her family. Time and again, she's shown how much she wants her parents to be together, particularly when it comes to her obsession with Brady and Kristen's relationship. She has actively interfered in their lives, doing everything in her power to keep other women away from Brady. This controlling and possessive behavior shows a side of Rachel that is far from innocent. Now, imagine Rachel overhearing that her uncle was responsible for the disappearance of her beloved grandmother, someone who had once been a key figure in her life. For any child, this would be devastating. But for Rachel, a DiMera by blood, the shock could have driven her to take matters into her own hands, with the belief that EJ needed to pay for what he had done. The concept of retribution runs deep in the DiMera family, and Rachel, whether consciously or not, may have decided to act in a way that she believed would bring justice to her grandmother's disappearance. Kristen's desperate confession. Covering for Rachel. If Rachel did, in fact, pull the trigger and shoot EJ, the consequences would be catastrophic, not just for EJ, but for the entire Black family. Kristen, in particular, would face not only the loss of her daughter's innocence, but also the threat of criminal charges for her own involvement in covering up the crime. Kristen has always been fiercely protective of her children, and she would go to any lengths to shield Rachel from the fallout of her actions. This could explain why Kristen, in recent episodes, was seen in prison clothes alongside EJ in a photo. It's possible that Kristen, realizing that her daughter's life could be ruined if the truth about Rachel's actions were revealed, chose to take the fall for the shooting herself. In a desperate attempt to protect Rachel, Kristen might have confessed to being the one who shot EJ, knowing that the truth would be far more devastating for her daughter than for her. By taking responsibility for the crime, Kristen could keep Rachel from being exposed to the harsh reality of what she had done, while also keeping her family from completely unraveling. Kristen's motivations here would be deeply rooted in love and fear. Her history with EJ has always been complicated, but the thought of losing her daughter or seeing Rachel face the legal consequences for her actions would be too much for Kristen to bear. And so, she may have made the ultimate sacrifice, sacrificing her own freedom to protect her daughter and keep her from spiraling down a dangerous path. The consequences for Kristen, Brady, and Rachel. If Kristen were to take the fall for the shooting, the ripple effects would be felt throughout Salem. Kristen and Brady's relationship, already strained by years of drama and betrayal, would be tested in ways it never has before. Brady, who has always had a complicated relationship with Kristen, would have to decide whether to stand by her during her time in prison or whether he believes she is truly guilty of such a crime. As for Rachel, the impact of her actions would be long-lasting. If it were revealed that Kristen had confessed to protect her daughter, Rachel would have to grapple with the weight of her actions. Would she feel guilty for causing her mother to go to prison? Would she even fully understand the consequences of her impulsive decision? For a young girl, the guilt and confusion would be overwhelming. But in the world of Days of Our Lives, nothing is ever simple, and the emotional fallout would no doubt play out in dramatic fashion. A web of secrets, lies, and betrayals in true Days of Our Lives fashion. This storyline is filled with twists, turns, and shocking revelations. Whether Rachel did, in fact, shoot EJ, and whether Kristen's confession is a self-sacrificial act to protect her daughter, one thing is certain: this mystery will not be solved easily. The truth will come out, but how it will unfold and what it will mean for the future of the Black family remains to be seen. As we watch this dramatic tale play out, we are left with many questions. Will Kristen's confession be enough to protect Rachel from the consequences of her actions? How will Brady react to his family's tangled web of secrets and lies? And what will happen to Rachel as she confronts the truth about what she's done? One thing is for sure: Days of Our Lives is once again delivering a roller coaster of emotions, filled with suspense, drama, and high stakes. The Black family's future is in peril, and the choices they make now could change the course of their lives forever. So, what do you think? Do you believe Rachel is the one who shot EJ, and that Kristen's confession is a desperate attempt to shield her? Or do you think there's more to the story than meets the eye? We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.